Hello and good evening. I wanted to go over a passage in the Bible in Mark chapter 15, starting in verse 6. Um, Pilate delivers Jesus to be crucified. Uh, I wanted to read that, and then I wanted to go over another passage in the book of Romans chapter 12, and then I want to discuss how the two can go together and uh, how we can use both of these passages to take from this and what it means. If you will, please follow with me. Now, at the feast, he used to release for them one prisoner from whom they asked. And among the rebels in prison who had committed murder in the insurrection, there was a man called Barabbas. And the crowd came up and began to ask Pilate um, to do as they usually did for them. And he answered them, saying, Do you want me to release for you the King of Jews? For he perceived that it was out of envy that the chief priests had delivered him up. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have him release for them Barabbas instead. And Pilate again said to them, Then what shall I do with the man you call the King of Jews? And they cried out again, Crucify him. And Pilate said to them, Why? What evil has he done? But they shouted all the more, Crucify him. So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released for them Barabbas, and having scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Romans chapter 12 says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I just wanted to talk about the two, how in uh, in Mark, Jesus relinquished his life for us and for our sins, and he offered his life um, for each one of us, and he was obedient to God and to death. And I wanted to talk about in Romans, it tells us that we ought to offer our lives as a sacrifice and be holy and and be submissive to God, how it's our reasonable service. I thank for the sacrifice that Jesus made for us on the cross and his obedience and him giving his life for each one of us. I do think we owe that to God and we owe that to Jesus, that we in return as Jesus, that we offer our lives not in the same way as he did, but that we offer how we live and the people kind of people we are, and that we are holy and we are pleasing, and it really is our obligation, and uh, it is our reasonable service, after all that was done for us. um, I really appreciate you listening, and um, thank you for watching.